Shumai guys, welcome back to the Life to the Full podcast with me, your host, Dav Morse. It's good to be back on the mic to bring a little wisdom to your ears this wonderful Friday morning. So, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, even if it's Saturday. As you may have noticed from the little indicator which tells you how long this podcast is, this is a very quick podcast. But hopefully, there is plenty of value in this short time. I am here today to answer the question, what to do when you don't have time? The answer is, show up anyway. There are days when we are so squeezed for time that we can't do all that we want to do. Since leaving the teaching profession, I have designed my life so that I have a lot of time freedom to work on the things I want to work on. But even then, there are certain times of the year that I'm far busier than I want to be. Busier than is good for my relationships, busier than is good for my physical health and my spiritual health. And this is down to a role that I have that I can't talk publicly about. Suffice to say, there are other things I'd like to be doing more of. And there will be times where things press in on us from all sides. But we will not be crushed. There will be times where we can't work out as much as we'd like. We don't see our kids as much as we'd like. We don't read as much as we'd like. We don't have as much silence and solitude as we'd like. We don't have enough time to do the run that we had planned. Insert any activity you like here. There will be times where we just don't have the time to do the things we want to do. I actually figured out what to do so that we don't feel like we're completely failing. We don't feel like we're falling so far behind, and we can keep making progress towards our goals. You know what the secret is? Just do the thing anyway. But you don't have to make it the full-blown thing that you had planned or would like to be able to do. If you haven't got time to do an hour's run, you could just do 15 to 20 minutes of interval sprint training. If you haven't got time to write for 3 hours, then write for half an hour. No time to read 10 pages? Read 1. If you haven't got time to meditate for 20 minutes, then meditate for 2 minutes. If your kid's asking you to play and you're constantly too busy, then tell them you can play for 5 minutes, then you have to get back to work. This kind of thinking and doing has some incredible benefits. Firstly, it keeps you on the horse. Just the act of showing up keeps the habit going. You don't have to worry about weeks on end of not doing the thing. It's easy to say, I don't have time. I won't do it today. Then today turns into a week, which turns into a month, and all of a sudden it's a massive emotional upheaval just to do the thing once. Secondly, it keeps informing you of who you are. It consolidates your identity as X, whatever that might be. If you do yoga for 10 minutes a day, you're a yogi. Doing hard maths for 15 minutes a day, you're a mathlete. If you wake up and do 50 push-ups before you leave your room, then you are someone who works out every day. You could get to a point where that only takes you 1 minute, then it proves to yourself that you are committed to something. It consolidates and confirms to yourself that you are the type of person who shows up. Thirdly, it keeps the needle moving in the right direction. If you're writing 100 words a day, you're reinforcing your identity as a writer, as opposed to someone who writes 2,000 words every 3 months. But also, in a year's time, you could have written a book's worth of writing. Lifting weights for 20 minutes 3 times a week can transform your body in a year. You don't have to do an hour and a half 5 times a week. And this is particularly hard if you are an Enneagram Type 1, that is, a perfectionist. Perfectionists tend to say, if I can't commit to it and be excellent and do it to the extreme, then I won't do it at all. I want to encourage you just to try it with one thing in your life. A word of warning though, this should only ever be a short-term thing. If you find yourself constantly pressed from all sides and you don't have the time ever to work on the things you want to work on, then you need to take a step back and look at things from a zoomed out point of view and address some of the systemic things going on in your life that are holding you back from living life to the full. Maybe some aspects of your life could be redesigned to facilitate more flexibility and freedom. That's what I encourage everybody to do, to design their lives so that they never want to retire from it. Life then becomes a joyful living out of the things that bring fulfillment and laughter and fun. So that's what this podcast is about today. I hope it's helpful and an encouragement to someone out there.